If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. In addition to that, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other platforms. Why not check it out today? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Good day, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on what time you're listening to this. But, oh my goodness, as I was sitting here listening to one of my mentors, because MsLalexis has been in her own little world as she has transitioned from a different house to a new house. I'm thankful. It's just a lot going on. So excuse my absence. I know I ain't been around that long, but hey, you might have got used to listening to what I'm trying to talk about. But oh my goodness, I titled this thing. Well, I technically haven't titled it yet. As I do this, I usually title things after I do it. However, I feel like the title is probably going to be a combination of what God shared with me today. And I was listening to my mentors, and a lot of things just tightened me up, because right now I'm in a place where I really have to just draw near to God, because I got to be able to discern whether things are a distraction or whether they are purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of them places, and I don't know if you're there or not. However, if you are there, you have to understand the part that gets uncomfortable, you can't allow that to pretty much distract you. Like, even if it could be purpose and it's not purpose, regardless, the uncomfortable place, you got to still keep going. And I share that to say, I didn't get to what I was going to title it. Sorry, I started to dive deep. But yeah, back to the joke of the title. It's so true. If you don't do things the Father's way, the principles will not be the principle. Like, you won't reap the benefit of pretty much the sacrifice or doing the word. But no, I was watching one of my mentors, and she said, you chasing the bag and trying to do it your way, and God put holes in the bag, because when you're chosen, He chastises you enough so that you understand that you're doing it the wrong way. But when you ain't chosen, yeah, you can get away with some of that foolishness. Once you've made your mind up to say, I'm no longer His child, yeah, you can accept the gifts of the enemy and never have consequences. However, when you know that you're chosen, you know that you're called, and you know that you are His, you gonna be chasing the bag, and He gonna be putting holes in it, just like she said it. And her name is Latoya Okia. And if you like listening to like a Southern style like mentorship, she's awesome, and she has amazing programs. Her programs have changed my life. But when she said that, it is so true. So I share this with you all. Make sure you are giving back. Understand the principles of tithing. Everybody got their different view on, how they feel about it. However, what God gives you in regard to tithing, make sure you practice it to your highest ability, because it's facts. You be chasing a bag and God put holes in it. Like, that is such a good analogy of how when you don't do things the way you're supposed to, and how God sits us down real quick so we can tighten up. But I hope that, y'all get it. But I really feel like the title of this is definitely gonna be "You Chasing the Bag and God Putting Holes in It." um but then to the other part of my time spent with God, he said that Peter was the one where God washed his feet, and that comes from John 13. I guess I'll start at about like 6. Well, no, I started at 5. After that, he pours water into a basin. Actually, no, we're going to start at the beginning. This is, where my foundation comes from. So, John 13, disciples must be servants. Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that his hour was come, that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own which were in the world, he loved them unto the end. And supper being ended, the devil having now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he was come from God, and went to God, he riseth from supper, and laid aside his garments, and took a towel, and girded himself. After that, he poureth water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded. Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? Jesus answered and said unto him, What I do thou knowest not, but what thou shalt know hereafter. Peter said unto him, Thou shalt never wash my feet. Jesus answered him, If I was thee not, thou hast no part with me. Simon Peter said unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Jesus said to him, He that is washed needeth not to save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And ye are clean, but not all. For he knew who should betray him. Therefore said he, Ye are not all clean. So this text goes like super deep. I mean, it could go into a lot. It has a surface message and it has a behind the message. The behind the message is referencing the times we live in. Because the very act was something that those of the Gentiles that did as slaves. But that's more, to look into off of the history, I should say. The history aspect of the word, depending on where it falls on for you. But I say that to come back to the surface to help you with like the personal aspect of things in your life. And it said, and then tying into the joke that was given to me, it's like, all right, you're busy worrying about self when you're also supposed to be serving. God places these things in your hand, and if you choose not to use them to help someone else's life without motive, that's what service is. Like, you forget about the motive. you forget about, why you, or not the why, but you definitely forget about what you would get in return. You're just necessarily giving because God said so. It really is a place to forget about yourself. And I find myself being a huge giver, but also as I am an entrepreneur and I'm a person about business, I find myself in a place of where I'm like, uh-oh, should I sell this or should I give this? And that's that place where if God shows you or reveals to you a person that needs something or that wants something, and you know that you're the one that has the means to provide it, as long as you, by you providing it, it's not an enablement, it's an actual, it's something to edify them, to help them, you do it. Like I told y'all, I've been in the process of getting rid of a lot of stuff, and sometimes that very item that I should be giving to somebody, I'll look at it and put a price on it. And God's looking at me like, the things that I've put in your life, you don't want a price on. So how dare you put a price on something that you're able to give? And when you do put a price on it, you chasing the bag and he putting holes in it. Like Toya said, oh my goodness. But that thing was for me, and as I share it with you all again, it's for me again. But I just say, don't forget that tithe. Don't forget that tithe principle, because that's how God's love is shared. That's how you bless someone else and then you're blessed. And it's not that you're doing it for the blessing, you're doing it because he said so. And when you do that, it's also allowing you to let go of things that you don't need. It's like you're holding on to this. You don't use it. You don't want to use it. It has no purpose in your home. But you're holding on to it. For what? And that goes for a lot of things, not just items, but also people. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, kind of people, but not necessarily with the tithe, but just the whole letting go principle. And that's really what giving is. And then humility and serving others, that's the aspect of people where it's like, no, it's not necessarily a tithe, but it keeps you, when you do something for somebody that you don't feel deserves any of that, like, you not doing it no more because it is a reflection of your stature of a person. It's because you're seeing that person as God sees us, and you just do what you got to do. And I feel like it's that simple. I'm sorry, I had a moment of silence because I had to understand that thing for myself. But I just wanted to jump on here quick and share that, because make sure you not chasing the bag and doing it the wrong way, because if that's all you doing, I guarantee you, if you're a child of the king, he putting holes in that bag, because he knows that what you doing and how you doing it is about to put you in a position where you won't be able to hear his voice, and you don't need to go there, because the times we live in, that ain't the move. So even with that being said, it also makes me think of the scripture with the talents, like we've discussed before, that he gave that one, and that one was like, oh, this ain't enough for me to be giving back. I'm talking about, oh, I'm going to give back. I'm going to do this. I'm talking about myself, and I'm talking about those that understand what I'm talking about. So if it's for you, it's for you. Like, don't feel bad. Once you identify the conflict, what you gonna do? You gonna still stay stuck. You gonna still be mad about it. You're gonna still be like, oh well, excuse me. It doesn't matter. I've already screwed up, so I'm gonna keep screwing up. Or are you gonna take that and be like, all right, moving forward, let me tighten up and let me do what I gotta do? So I share that to say, don't be talking about, oh, when I get where I want to be, then I'm going to start doing X, Y, Z. Nah, that is not how it works. If you ain't giving now, you ain't giving later. Why? Because you've allowed yourself to go up the ladder. And for real, it's the hard way, because the Father trying to save you by putting holes in your bag, but you still wouldn't do it your way. And that's not how things work. Either you're chosen and you're his child, you line up according to his word, you do the things that are uncomfortable, because you got to think about it. Christ probably was like talking to God, talking to y'all, probably like, man, this is a total biscuit. I got to go out here and wash their feet. And you sent me as the son, but he doesn't even think like that because of his heart being humble enough. But a part of his response lets you know, like, if I don't do this, you're not going to get it. I have to do this. And that's what we have to do being saved. Like, we can't say, oh, we're going to give when we got it. Nah, you're supposed to give with where you are. Whether you got $1 or whether you got $10,000, $1 million. Nah, you don't give in abundance. You give when you ain't got it. And I feel that that's the barrier with a lot of the change with us knowing who we are. And until we get that principle, you can't be stingy and blessed. It don't work that way. And I have to learn that. That's why I be having all this stuff. And I be like, okay, Lex, you don't need this. You don't even need that. But you worried about, what if I get rid of it and don't even make $1 off of it and it becomes amazing? And God's looking at me like, you really gonna hold on to that for real? When I've taught you my principles? So these are the things. Y'all think I'm joking, but a lot of us be holding on to stuff that we ain't got no business holding on to. And if we don't make a profit off of it, we're like, oh, well, I don't want it no more. I mean, I don't want it anymore. We'll be like, well, I'll hold on to it till I can make a profit. And God don't work like that. If he said get rid of it and you don't make $1 off of it the first go round, then that means you're supposed to give it away. Or if you know that every time you do get your paycheck from your 9-to-5 or from your entrepreneurships, and my form of tithing, other people have their other form, but because I'm not real big on organized religion, my form of tithing is giving to others. And when I see the need and God has blessed me with a paycheck, that's when I give to that need without words. And I've been guilty of not doing it as much as I used to. However, I feel that when I do that, it's definitely received by the kingdom. And I know that because there's been times when things have been put in my hand right at the time when I didn't know how I was going to make it. Oh yeah, I sit here, I smile, I laugh, I giggle. But hard times hits everyone. And when it does hit, I be like, okay, I'm not gonna bug out. I'm not gonna look at my pockets. I'm really gonna have faith over fear, and I'm gonna trust God with everything. And when I trust y'all with everything, that's when I understand how the whole process of giving works. Because if those people didn't either give of themselves, give of their finances, give of their patience, give of, it's all a process to when God's blessing you. So understand that it goes full circle. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. And I'm going to get off of here because I did not mean to ramble for 20 something minutes. But again, I hope you have a great day on purpose. If you're not already, I know I'm going to have a great day on purpose because I ain't going to stunt. It started off a little rough. The enemy was in my brain like, girl, you about to have a bad day. You about to be irritated. And my father said, when you worship me, no, you not. So I had to sit back and I had to tighten up and I had to ask my father to visit me today. And it's an amazing experience because right at that moment when your brain is saying, man, I'm hurt, I'm blown, I don't like this feel a little weird, something ain't right, ugh. And you worship and you get in your quiet space, you listen to your mentors, you talk to those that are on one accord with him, his joy is unspeakable. I'm trying to tell you, like, and I'm so thankful for who he is in my life. And if you're listening to me and he's not in your life, send me a message. We can talk about it. Send somebody else a message that you may see. And I'm like, it's real. So I hope that encouraged you today if you got a lot of stuff, because you got to understand too, getting rid of things and giving things to people that you know or you see the need, or if people or whatever, however it works for you, because we know how to give, because we know how to be blessed, we know how to receive. My mentor, she also had spoke on that children know that they know how to receive. They're like, okay, if the parents give one child something, the other child is expecting something as well. And we do that in human nature. So why is it that we get selfish and we think that what God has given us is actually ours, which keeps you out the circle of blessings because you stop the cycle, in other words. That's how I see it. Like when I look at the big picture, it's like literally stopping the cycle. It's like, okay, well, you want to get off the wheel, then get off the wheel. Now, of course, he's going to have grace and mercy, and that's what a lot of the holes in the bag is for. Because if he keep giving you, and you're not practicing his principles, then he's then therefore not one of his word, and that's one of his commandments. Don't take his name in vain, which is changing his principles. And that's not how it works. You fall off the wheel when you get stingy. And you starting to probably receive things not of his kingdom. And I'm still talking. But we'll probably talk about that coming very soon. Receiving things not of his kingdom. Understanding the difference between heavenly gifts and gifts not of the kingdom. I don't even like to acknowledge the other kingdom when I'm in my conversations with you all, because for what? We know what we're talking about, and there's no power in that. When you highlight the benefits of being a child of the kingdom, then you understand there's no need to serve the kingdom of darkness. So, I just share that to, I don't know who it's for, but it's got to be for somebody else, because this thing blessed me to stop trying to monetize some things that are your actual tithes. Like, you can't do that. And it's like, I really speak on it more as offerings. That's how I kind of see it to an extent, because when Christ was here, he didn't like how the quote-unquote organized religious places were doing things. He didn't like it. And I know he wouldn't be pleased with today. So, if we're supposed to be like our brother's keeper, and we're supposed to be there for those, and we also expect the Father to open doors that won't shut on us, why we don't do that for other people? Why we can't have a heart to really give? And it's like, sometimes it might be icky to give to that person. It might be uncomfortable. But I'm going to say good day. I'm going to say good morning. I'm going to say good evening, good afternoon. And the last for today, good day.